RooFest, tips and advice for organizations. I had the realization a few days ago as I was having a conversation with somebody, one of the student organization leaders, that they are a sophomore, but they had never really been to RooFest before. And so we understand in the source that for many of you, this might be your first time in a leadership role, and this might be your first RooFest experience as well. Just starting off with a very basic level, RooFest, this is the main student organization involved in FAIR for the academic year. And really it's your opportunity to interact with incoming students and recruit for your student organization. So at the fundamentals here, again, it's on Sunday, August 22nd from 1:00 p.m. to 4:00 p.m. And it will be held in the Gene Howard Tabor Student Union. With the possibility of a handful of organizations set up outside on Coleman Common. This will only be done in the event that is nice weather, and it will not be all student organizations. Many of you on this call may have received an initial survey if you signed up back in early April or May, and we had asked you if you would volunteer to be outside, weather permitting, and for those organizations that said yes, you're on the list right now and you might be placed outside. Other organizations will be placed throughout the student union as is historically done. We are reducing the footprint of the RooFest program this year by not having as many organizations as we have historically, but again, because you signed up, you're on this call, so you do have a guaranteed spot at RooFest for your organization. We are going to be sending more information as we get a little bit closer to the event, but just so that you know, check-in for student organizations must be by 12:45 p.m. There will be a location designated for you to check in, which is just going to be that first floor atrium right by PNC Bank in the student union. So please plan to be checked in no later than 12:45. You can start checking in around 12:15 to give yourself some time to be ready to set up. More information will be written in an email to you later on as well. And then a few other general points as a reminder and kind of helping us set the stage so that you are aware of this and that you can respond accordingly. The numbers for the amount of people that typically come into the student union, sorry, they're mowing the lawn. If you can hear that, I apologize. We usually have anywhere between 3,000 and 4,000 people in the student union that Sunday between the hours of 1 and 3 p.m. So it is a very busy facility on that day. What we have done this year is that we have extended RooFest for an additional hour. And the reason that we have done that is so that we can accommodate the incoming students in the fall freshman class, part of new Roo weekend, for the traditional time frame of 1 to 3 o'clock p.m. But because we have our sophomore students that did not have a traditional fall welcome experience last year, they have been invited as part of new Roo Rewind to come to RooFest from 2:30 p.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. So we are anticipating larger crowds. That's why we extended the event for an additional hour. So we do ask organizations to at least be mindful of that you'll have two different sets of students coming. You'll have your traditional first-year freshmen, but then also sophomore students that are interested in coming to the event as well. And the advertising is being done intentionally for them so that they hopefully come at their corresponding times as well. So some of the basics for RooFest, just so that you know, your table locations will be assigned to you when you check in. So it's not a matter of you walking through the facility to find a table that you like. We pre-assign table locations and you'll receive that at your check-in time. We do our best to keep certain categories of organizations together in common areas. We also know that this facility does not always allow for, if we have a student organization category and we have 40 organizations in that category and all 40 apply to be at RooFest, we might not be able to get you all in the same room. but we do our best to keep organizations together if it makes sense for a specific category as well. You are welcome to distribute promotional items at your table. These could be pens or pencils or squishy balls or whatever types of promotional items that you might want to distribute. We will talk in a few slides about our vendors that you are permitted to purchase those promotional items from. We'll have a slide for that. And it's just the same vendors that we always use anytime you want to buy t-shirts or other types of promotional items. Food items are going to be permitted in the sense that they must be prepackaged or wrapped like candy. You can distribute candy at your table. You cannot bake brownies and bring brownies into the facility. You cannot have pizza and bring that into the facility to distribute at your table. So you are allowed to have those small types of food items, assuming that they are manufactured and that they have been pre-sealed by the vendor who you purchase them from. With promotional items and food items, sometimes student organizations are asking the questions about, can they use RooFest as a fundraising experience for their organization? And the answer to that is no, they cannot. So the intention of RooFest is always to showcase your organization and grow your membership. It is not for you to financially benefit from incoming students or other guests who come to this event as well. So you are allowed to distribute items, but you cannot collect money for those types of items that you might be distributing. Another component that we will talk about in a little bit is how you can utilize RooConnect to keep track of who comes to your table so that you don't necessarily have to have pen and paper there. We'll show you how you can do that electronically and just generally how you should use RooConnect for recruitment efforts for your organization. And then also we'll talk a little bit about the student organization disclaimer statements that you need to have on any type of publications or paper that you are distributing to students who come to the event. And as we go, you are welcome to text or put messages in the chat if you have questions on anything that you would like to ask. So we really want to help you remember that RooFest is your opportunity to recruit for your student organization. Most organizations were a little bit, we'll say, dormant last year. They kind of laid low and weren't as active. And certainly the RooFest experience last year, with it being virtual, it was not a traditional experience of being able to recruit for your organization. So with this being your opportunity to really interact with new students, we want to go over some really basic fundamentals of how you can recruit and how you can do that really well. So the information that we have here came from a variety of different sources, mostly being Indeed.com, and then also Fired Up, which is recruitment experts who really work with student organizations and fraternities and sororities across the country on an annual basis. So at the basic level, you and your members who are at the table need to know the values of your organization and the purpose of your organization. Why do you exist at the University of Akron? And if you can answer that, that's a really great place to be. And if you can't answer that, then you should look into your organization's constitution, which would be posted on your RooConnect page or in your respective files. But the reason why we want to start with your values and your purpose is so that you can have some good talking points and know generally, again, why you all exist on campus. So if you also, as a as your organization officers or whomever is going to be presenting at RooFest, if you can answer the question of how can your organization benefit the prospective member, that is something that you should really prepare in advance so that you know how you can benefit students on campus. And some things to consider about how can you benefit students It depends on the organization, but this list of 6 items right here can give you some starting off points. So perhaps your organization exists to develop a sense of community with students of your academic major, or students who like to complete community service hours, because you might have a niche interest or a certain hobby that people are looking for. So you have the opportunity to develop a community amongst students. Perhaps you are an organization that is really designed to help students prepare for their careers because you offer either connections to internships or general career growth or career programming and development. All student organizations offer leadership skills development. And if you're not sure about skills that your organization can offer to its members, the one thing I would encourage you to think about is, what do you think that you have learned so far from being a student organization officer of your organization? You should hopefully be learning skills and developing those skills. And if you still need some starting off points as a method to understand what skills you might be learning, on RooConnect right now, if you go up to opportunities and click on skills, you'll be able to see skills that we think our students on campus should be learning underneath different competencies like self-development or critical thinking. And then if you were to click on a specific skill set, you'll see that a new page will pop up, and it will also elaborate as to what critical thinking might mean for that student or for that specific skill set that you are thinking that you are learning. So I would encourage you to take a look at that right now. This is a section of RooConnect that is continuing to be built out, but it can really be helpful if you're looking at, if I want to say that our organization teaches you teamwork, what are those skills that you need in order to accomplish or to be successful with developing good teams? You need to be able to build relationships. You need to be able to understand group development, and so on and so forth. So I encourage you to take a look at this. This could be a good starting off point for you. And for all of our student organizations as well, putting a different hat on when you think about what you're doing, you are all, in a sense, running small nonprofit organizations. So how can you help people understand that through leadership opportunities or being the president or the treasurer, is that you're really gaining those skills to take care of paperwork, to run meetings, to lead a group of people, that you have this opportunity to run a small business, so to speak. Some of our organizations give back to the community and or have that access to our community partners or alumni of the university. To have access to them and to gain networking skills is something that is really crucial to a lot of our student organizations. And then I also encourage you all, as it relates to the values and purpose of your organization, to have a conversation about what characteristics you're looking for in new members. Who is a good fit for your organization? Who is a good new member? What are your expectations for new members? Do they have to come to monthly meetings or weekly meetings? To really start unpacking these conversations amongst yourselves so that you're prepared in order to answer any questions that might arise during the RooFest experience. A few other things to really keep in mind that will really help set you apart and help you prepare is that recruitment is all about people, getting to know people and being comfortable having conversations with people. And a really crucial component of this is generating a names list. So if you want to find success with recruitment and you do so on an annual basis or your ongoing recruitment or based organization, you need to have a names list. And so make sure that you have something at your table, whether it's paper and pencil or whether it's what I'll show you momentarily about how to create an event for your organization on RooConnect. Have this ready so that people can sign up for something. So that you're having this really great conversation with somebody and you don't forget to get their name and contact information. There will be lots of people floating in and out of the event, and we're all human and we might forget who we just talked to. So always have something like that at your table. The other component about this is how do you reach out to people? Um, how do you engage with folks, and how do you invite them to your table? So one of the worst things that we see when we see either organizations or other departments doing some type of tabling experience is that they sit behind their table and they don't, or they sit behind their table and they expect people to come to them. That's really a passive way of doing a tabling experience. And so many times we see success when we just, stick out our hand and we shake somebody's hand. And if you're not comfortable with that, then go ahead and do a fist bump or wave at somebody, but really make that effort to try and draw people into your table. Introduce yourself and really ask open-ended questions of the people. Obviously, some of the basics that are helpful and break down any discomfort is what's your name and major or where you're from, but then try and ask more general questions that allow them to tell you about themselves. Help make them feel like the most important person in that conversation, because you do want to get to know them. And when you are getting to know them, you're listening to what they have to say, and then you can use that information that you just learned from them to steer your conversation about the organization. So if you're hearing things from somebody that make it sound like they might not be a good fit for your organization because you might be focused on tabletop board games, but this person is really focused on lacrosse. I'm just making up an example here. Perhaps they're not interested in the same thing, and so that can help steer your conversation. And then another really crucial piece, which we see organizations that are successful with growing their membership base, is the follow-up. That there should be some type of follow-up within 48 hours of the event, and that could look like a variety of different things. This could be just sending an email to everybody that signed up for your list to thank them and say that more information will be coming. It could be inviting them to an organization meeting or an organization event. The other thing that we always encourage groups to do is to actually have something scheduled for perhaps that first week of the semester, so that you can then tell students that you're meeting at RooFest, hey, it was great to meet you. We have an event coming up this Friday. We'll send you an email. We hope to see you there. If you don't have your stuff already scheduled, it makes it more challenging to say, we'll follow up with you when we decide to plan events, right? Be organized, be professional, and show them that they have something that they can come back to see you in a short amount of time. But always make some type of outreach within 48 hours of your of the RooFest experience. It makes them feel like they were seen, that they were heard, and that they were remembered, which is really an important piece of the recruitment experience. At your table, remember that first impressions are incredibly important. You have maybe 30 seconds to make a good first impression. Perhaps at RooFest, that number is down. I don't have any statistics to show for that, but thinking about having thousands of people, perhaps or hundreds of people, at least in the grand ballroom of the student union, how do you make that good first impression to somebody? And some of that is done through perhaps having candy on your table, but also just remembering to smile and be friendly. Having limited fun and eye-catching materials is also good. So what do you want at your table to represent your organization? If the best representation of your organization is just you at a blank, empty table, okay, go for it. If not, and you want to have some other things there, I think that's good. Your table shouldn't be generally overwhelming. Have a few things that represent yourselves, because remember, you have to carry it all into the building as well. But what are those things that you want to put on your table to showcase your organization? Also thinking about how you're drawing people in. Obviously, you want to smile and maybe shake their hand, but also what are types of interactive activities that you could have at your table to really stand out from other organizations. So that could be having a rock, paper, scissors opportunity, or maybe you're really into the dad jokes or the puns and you want to do something like that. How do you use a Jenga game to make it exciting for people to come up there? How can you draw do a drawing for a prize. So think about what you can do that's interactive, because when you do things like that, you're actively recruiting versus the passive recruitment. And so that standing behind your table, again, expecting people to come to you is not the best approach for any type of recruitment. You need to go find people. You need to generate your own list of names of people who are interested in your organization, so that you're doing that work and making yourselves known as opposed to expecting people to find you. Another really crucial thing to think about, and you all are at the age range where you're considered through generational theory, Generation Z. So thinking about your generation and how do you as an organization know your audience of who's coming up to your table. And as you think about what I expect a student organization to tell me at RooFest, you can then make sure that you provide that information during your tabling experience at RooFest. So understanding that the students that come to universities now are very financially aware, and they want to know what costs are associated with the things that they do, because they generally understand or have had direct experience with the financial recessions that have happened as they were growing up and seeing family or friends struggle financially because of things that were happening in the world. And so they've now started to adapt, and they're more financially aware, and they need to understand, if I'm spending money to be a part of this organization, is it going to be worth it? What am I going to get out of this? And if you can answer those questions, then I think that that will be a very good place for you to be. There also tend to be a little bit more anti-establishment. Another word for this would be that they are more entrepreneurial and that they are interested in doing things a little bit more on their own and establishing themselves, and not so much feeling like they are really connected to something that is perhaps global or an establishment type of institution, that they want to do things that matter to them, and that they can really do things like this now because so many things in the world allow them to create their own experiences. You know, thinking about TikTok and the number of people who make livings off of just posting on TikTok. It's a skill set that maybe many of us should start to learn because they make a lot of money on there. So just keeping in mind, again, what it is that those members will get from your organization. They're information seekers. They want to know information. So make sure that you have something that you can provide them. But also they want something that will provide them with security. And so a lot of students that are coming to universities now, you know, they learned these lessons in their early childhood, and they want to be a part of something that will allow them to feel comfort and secure, and perhaps your organization can provide that to them. And so thinking about the things that your organizations do throughout the year, where do you feel that sense of security or that sense of community amongst your members, that you can also explain to them if they have questions, or you just want to make that really good sales pitch. So I'm gonna pause and I'm gonna go over to RooConnect because I want to show you a few things that, in case you don't know, generally for your organization, we want you to do, but then also how you can do this for RooFest as well. So on RooConnect right now, if you were to log in, you'll start to see that a lot of organizations and departments are advertising their events that are happening. You as an organization, if you're doing things that anybody on campus can participate in, we want you to be creating your events through your organization portal on RooConnect. You can download what's called the RooConnect app on the Apple Store, and that way you'll be able to see any student organization event or other types of events being advertised, like ZPN Festival, or when the succulents are being given out on campus. This is another method of advertising, just like ZipMail is as well. So we want you to be doing this. I just want to point that out. But if your organization wants to create an event just for RooFest, you can do that, and it doesn't have to be visible. It can be if you want, but it doesn't have to be. If we were to pretend to be Student Nurses Association really quick, just understand that as any student organization, I, as a member that's not part of the organization, I can come to your group, and right now I can click on contact, and I can send an email or a message to whomever is listed as the point of contact for the organization. Some of our organizations, you'll also see a join box right next to contact. And if that join box is there, that's because the organization chose to let people join the organization. Sometimes you won't see that because there might be a membership process where people need to either, if you're a fraternity or sorority, go through recruitment, or just generally, if you are an organization that doesn't want people just randomly joining your organization, you might have a little bit of more say as to who you accept for members. Perhaps you're an honor society. So thinking about that, sometimes you'll see a little join box right next to the contact, and you get to make that decision yourself. So how can you use an event for RooFest? If you want, again, to advertise that you're going to be there, you can create an event page for your organization at RooFest. And then anybody who's visiting your event page, they'll be able to see information about your organization as well. From an administrative side, just to really quickly walk you through that and what that looks like, is once you log into the admin dashboard, you'll be able to click on your organization. And once you're in this section, you can create an event for your organization. And really, it's a simple process to just have it be there, straightforward. But a few things that you'll be able to do as a result of creating an event. This is where you go to just walk through your organization and what you are trying to advertise to people who are coming to your event. If you were to click on one of your events that are already happening, you'll see that all student organizations are identified, or all events are given a pin. And all you need to do is you can download what's called the Checkpoint app on your phone. I'll show you a screen here in a minute of how you can find that. But if you enter that pin on your phone through the Checkpoint app, you'll be able to scan somebody's barcode, and it will automatically log their attendance at the event. So if you don't want to do paper and pencil as a sign-up feature at your table, all you need to do is download that Checkpoint app on your phone and then ask for the student to scan their barcode. Now, there's always the risk that somebody doesn't have their ID card with you or with them. There is a feature on that app where you could search by their email and log them in that way. And there may be a student at this point who doesn't know what their ID number is or what their email is, and they don't have their ID card. Perhaps in that situation, it's wise to then still have a piece of paper at your table so that you could still capture that, even if that's not the primary method that you're using to track who stops at your table. So this is a really great feature for you all to use, and you'll be able to export that list as an Excel file of whoever comes to that event. And then if all those folks join your organization, you could upload them onto your roster as well. So that's just one thing to think about as you consider your options. So I'm not going to go through all of these common mistakes. You'll be able to read this in the PowerPoint that gets sent out to everybody. But over the years, we've accumulated lists of things that are some common mistakes that folks who are tabling start to make. And so I've talked about a few of them as we have already progressed throughout this. But the really important things to always remember is that it's just a people experience, in that if you can have some students or you yourself are somebody who is really comfortable talking to people, to have those individuals at your table to put that best foot forward, that is going to be really a beneficial opportunity for your organization. Because we are also limiting how many people from your organization can be at your table, we're limiting that to 2. It's a reminder that having those individuals there who like to talk to folks, if they need to switch out during the event, that's fine. But we're not going to our practices of pre-COVID where we didn't have a restriction on how many people could be at your table. So please keep that in mind as well. We should not be having extra members hanging out at the table, nor should you, be more interested in talking to your friends that you haven't seen all summer while you're supposed to be recruiting for the organization. Those are some things that are very, not good in a recruitment conversation because it shows those prospective members that you're more interested in talking to your friends than you are about getting to know them. There's a time and place for everything, but at RooFest, while you're trying to grow your membership, it's perhaps not the best time for you to be doing that. And then just generally some other points to think about as you go through preparing for your RooFest experience. I also talked about promotional items before. So remember, as a student organization on campus, you are restricted to using these 3 different vendors anytime that you want to buy t-shirts or other types of promotional items. So the UA shop is going to be the most frequently used vendor that we have. Global promotions and incentives, and then AG print promo are the other 2 as well. So in order for you to make those purchases, obviously you have to have funds in your SAF account, but then you also will need to get a quote from them and submit the proper paperwork to the source office. The nice thing about UA Shop in particular is that they will bill your organization account at the end of the month, so you don't have to check out the Visa card or pay with cash. That's all done behind the scenes for you, but you have to provide them with your account number when you are going to make the purchase. This screen is going to show you how to do that mobile check-in feature. And so it's a step-by-step, very simple process, but in order to do that, if you want to, you need to obviously have created the event in Roo Connect first under your organization, and then you would want to download the Presence Checkpoint app and then follow the instructions on your screen. So again, this resource will be part of this PowerPoint that gets sent to you, and obviously this video as well. And then lastly, what we talk about for our student organizations is if you are trying to create some type of brochure or other type of document that you are distributing, that you would need to have the student organization disclaimer statement visible on your document. And so when we say visible, it does not have to be taking up an incredible amount of space, but it also has to be visible, and you don't really have to, shouldn't have to strain to read the disclaimer statement. It should be on there in a specific spot. It's, the fine print of your organization and your recognition as a student organization at the University of Akron. So through all of this conversation, you'll get this video as well as the PowerPoint slides so you can see the resources. We understand that a lot of our student organizations struggled with growing their memberships last year. And so we wanted to make sure that we provided this opportunity for you so that you really challenge yourselves to think about how do you grow your membership moving forward this year. I am going to open this up here in a minute for questions that you have. So you're welcome to either unmute yourself or type in the chat, and I'm happy to provide thoughts or general advice. And then also, obviously, between now and RooFest, you'll receive additional information from us, and we are more than happy to listen to your ideas, either perhaps tell you, no, you can't really do that, or have you thought about doing it this way? We're happy to have those conversations with organizations because we want you to be successful during this event, but then also throughout the year as well. So what questions can I help answer, or ideas can I perhaps expand upon? The PowerPoint, it looks like I'm a little bit behind on some questions. I apologize. You'll be able to share this PowerPoint. Yes, it'll come to you in an email. the folks that who registered for RooFest. McCullough, I'm not sure what you mean by, is that just for RooFest or for all documentation? Joseph, for doing an activity, how much space will we have in front of our table? Yeah, so for tabling purposes, you will have approximately 3 feet between each table. If you have ideas of something that you're trying to bring that doesn't necessarily fit on your table, you do need to get that, you do need to run that by me, so send me an email with your idea, and we'll see what we can do to help make that work. But just know generally that you'll have about 3 feet on each side of your table. Do you need to wear masks during RooFest? So we will follow and abide by the University of Akron policies right now that relate to COVID-19. As of right now, masks are not required on campus. I think that the language is unless you are not fully vaccinated. So as that changes, or if that changes, we'll make adjustments. And so if the university for some reason were to adjust to say masks are required on campus, then yes, in order to participate in an official event at the university, you would have to wear masks as well. It's a very good question. But nothing to my knowledge has changed with that policy. Thank you, McCullough. Does the disclaimer statement need to be on every document we distribute, or just those distributed at RooFest? So it should always be on any type of advertising that you do. So if you're passing out flyers, you're posting flyers on campus, that disclaimer statement should be there. And then certainly what you're passing out during RooFest should have that disclaimer statement on there as well. So if it is a flyer advertising an upcoming event, it should be posted someplace on there. I think it was one of our music organizations a few years ago, our International Trumpet Organization, they put the disclaimer statement on a piece of the trumpet that they advertised. So they did it creatively and it was still visible. So my answer, I think, to you, McCullough, hopefully is yes. It should be on most documents that you are publishing on behalf of the organization. All right, well, I again offer our services here in the source. We'll be in touch with information as it becomes available to all of you, so that you will be able to understand more about expectations and reminders about the day of as well as we get closer. And then certainly I'll linger here for a few minutes. If you want to stay back and ask any specific questions, I will do so. You'll get this information either today or tomorrow. And then please let us know how we can be helpful. And hopefully you have a good RooFest experience and can grow your membership. So thank you very much for attending today.